with the God who is powerful? How do we reconcile the senseless, meaningless killing of an innocent person as the wisdom of God? Well, St. Paul is really challenging the prevailing mindset about God and worship of God. Very often, the gods that our world prefers are the gods who exhibit brute, naked power. Our world, and in the end, we are enslaved. But we find Jesus truly free in His crucifixion, truly free to be obedient to God. And obedience means powerlessness to self and all power to God. The worship of Jesus crucified is accepting the wisdom of God, which is not always clear to human wisdom. And so, obedience to the will of God is wisdom, but it is also dying to self. The
Hispanic community, promoting education and open communication about important life topics. If you are interested in a free presentation for any age group in English or Spanish, please contact me 559-732-5000 or go on my website www.latinosforlife.org.
The Proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to John. Since the Passover of the Jews was near, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. He found in the temple area those who saw. The Jews answered and said to him, "What sign can you show us for doing this?" Jesus answered and said to them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The Jews said, "This temple has been under construction for 46 years, and you will raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking about the temple of his body. Therefore, when he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they came to believe the scripture and the word Jesus had spoken. While he was in Jerusalem for the feast of Passover, many began to believe in his name when they saw the signs he was doing. But Jesus did not trust himself to them because he knew them all and did not need anyone to testify about human nature. He himself understood it well. The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel passage for this Sunday is taken from St. John. We have been reflecting on true worship of the true God. They come together. In the first reading from Exodus, the 10 Commandments, but premised on a reminder, a memory. I am the God who has liberated you from slavery in Egypt. The true God liberates. Then he says, so do not have other gods besides me. False gods will enslave you all the more. So the 10 Commandments are a help for Israel to maintain its focus on the true God. And that will affect the relationship with one another, so that false gods, idols, would not be served and will not further enslave them. In the second reading, St. Paul points to the true God, the powerful God, the all-knowing God, the wise God, in the crucifixion of Christ. Yeah, this is very different from the false gods of the world, using power brutally, using wisdom to manipulate others. But in Jesus we see that it is obedience to God The obedience that makes me weak, that actually makes me strong. The obedience that makes me obey the will of someone greater than me. People might laugh at me, the foolishness of obedience, but that enables me to render worship to the wisdom of God. Yes, it's a totally different type of worship to the true God.